Yo, 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 yo. What it do? What it be, y'all? It's your boy, Agent A&T, coming to y'all with another Apex Legendary commentary. And let's get right into it. This video gonna be kind of long. It's gonna be one of the longer ones, y'all, so bear with me. If you're not a wrestling fan or a gaming fan, I don't know why you're here, but especially for the gaming part. But if you're not a wrestling fan, then this video is not really gonna be your cup of tea. I'm gonna be getting into deep discussion about wrestling, and I'll kind of how I do about NBA and NFL or whatever. But all right, just here it goes. So I've been a wrestling fan as long as I've been a gamer, and it's kind of crazy because even though there are like hella gamers out there that are my age, I don't really see a lot of wrestling fans my age. Like they're all they're way older, or they're like women and children, and they haven't been watching it as long as me, obviously. So it kind of makes sense because wrestling never really catered to my demographic, the age that I am now. And when they did, it was only when I was growing up as like like 2007. What age was I? 13 years ago, I was 10. So yeah, when I was about not even a tween is when I was like, when WWE was catering to adults, and I shouldn't have even been watching it, but I was anyway. But for over a decade now, it hasn't catered to people my age, or my demographic that I am currently. They haven't catered to the males 18 to 24, even 18 to 28, like I said, for at least a good 10-15 years now. The last time that I do remember WWE doing something PG-13 or even M-rated was Edge and Lita's live sex celebration, and that was circa 2006, 2007. And since then, I can't really think of a storyline or a feud that really was, for my demographic, or, really was catering to the adult male, kind of thing, to that kind of crowd. Now, when I was growing up, yeah, the Attitude and the Ruthless Aggression eras, that was the shit. But now, like I said, for the last decade or even longer, WWE makes enough money catering to the women and children demographic, and I don't really see them variating from that. They don't really have a reason to. I mean, they're still getting bread regardless. So I'm not even, and they're still the powerhouse. No one's really challenging them for their spot either. So there's that. And the only time, like I said, that wrestling ever catered to adult males 18-24 was when I was growing up. And don't really see them variating from that. And like, I'm not even saying because of that the entire product is trash. Overall, yeah, it's trash. But there are definitely some diamonds in the rough. Like the women. The evolution of women's wrestling in the WWE has been really impressive. And I said in WWE because WWE or TNA did it 10 years earlier when they had Gail Kim and Amazing Kong and Roxy Laveau and Daphne, Hamada, Taylor Wilde, ODB, Jacqueline, and the Beautiful People. They was mixing both. They had a good little mix there, but they were at least putting up better matches than the 5 women tag matches every week, and Natalya and Beth Phoenix being like the only legit contenders, and Mickie James before she moved on to TNA. But I mean, somehow Lay Cool, Melina, Kelly, Maurice, Jillian Hall, Eve Torres, Alicia Fox, and I mean the Bella Twins aren't really a secret, but somehow they all kept getting airtime. And I'll give it to Paige and AJ Lee. They were actually decent, but we all know what happened to Paige in that saga. And AJ Lee was smart to leave when I don't know if it was that stupid ass angle with Daniel Bryan, or I don't know if she got hurt or she left because of CM Punk or with CM Punk. I don't know what that all was, but she was smart to leave when she did, because that angle with Daniel Bryan and Kane was just stupid. Like, did she do a great job in the angle? Yeah, for sure. But was it stupid as fuck? Oh, hell yeah. Like, anything with Kane and a love interest is just cringe as hell to me. I don't know. They just should never do shit like that. Katie Vick, Lita, AJ Lee, all that shit was trash. But anyways, the women's division is great again, like it never was. But in my opinion, they have a big enough roster to maybe do an hour show on the network. And guess what? If they did that and somehow kept the division relevant and promoted the roster and show right, they could maybe take Raw back down to 2 hours. Now, this is just like me spitballing some shit, but really though, no cap, no gown. If they really did like an all-women show on the network, kind of like how they do the mixed match challenge, they could do that. Just have all women, announcers, all women broadcasters, all women backstage, interviewers. Have all the women do that. You could maybe have them do a match here, a match there on the main, shows or whatever to kind of promote it. But you should change the banners to the show, kind of like how they did with the cruiserweight division too. Just me spitballing here. I feel like the women are talented enough to hold their own and have their own show. Do I still think they should get their main events or like their pay-per-view spots? Oh, hell yeah. They should definitely cap off all the rivalries on that shit on the pay-per-views. That should be the bonus, and they should change the banners there too or whatever. That would be lit. That's just my opinion though. I think they have a good enough roster. They're big enough to do that. And not have it feel like, oh, we're being, segregated from the men. Especially if they're being promoted on men's shows, still wrestling on men's shows, but they just have their own show. Like, I would watch that over Total Divas. I don't even watch Total Divas, on God. But they had an all-women show, and they actually had, women tag team champions, or, an actual women's title. They have all 3 women's titles across all brands. No, you don't need that. Granted, your roster is probably big enough for that, but you don't. You don't need it. There needs to be one dominant female. Could be wrong, but that's just... You could have 2, maybe. Have, they should have the main, the mid, and then the tag team titles, and that's it. That could just be me, with an old school mentality, though. Maybe I'm tweaking, but that's just... I would watch that. As long as they promoted it right and kept promoting it on the main shows and didn't treat it like it was like substandard or whatever. As long as they didn't treat it like the WNBA. Because it's not even close. It's not even the same thing. The women wrestlers they have right now are putting on just as good as performances as the men at this point. They're even main eventing, and those main events haven't been garbage at all. So that's just my opinion. I would definitely watch that. Like I said, do that. Have Raw bring it back down to 2 hours, since you don't have to really feature the women for half an hour or a couple matches like y'all have been or whatever. But that's just me. That's what everybody's been begging for, is for Raw to go back down to 2 hours. And, SmackDown be 2 hours. NXT could be, even an hour and a half even. You don't have to have every show 2 hours. But it's an hour right now, which is cool. But it doesn't... An hour of TV time doesn't really feel like a lot anymore when it comes to wrestling. Like, AEW is kind of an hour, yeah. But, we'll get to that in a minute. But, with NXT, like I said, pretty much being the third brand now, and the show where new talent is introduced, which is pretty much what Paul Heyman was trying to make ECW when they revamped it. But we all know how that went, even after CM Punk became the biggest superstar in the world. Vince can't, and still for the most part can't fathom someone getting a push he didn't create. So they dropped the ball on CM Punk, just like they did Zack Ryder, and to some extent Dolph Ziggler a few times. And even now, like I said, WWE doesn't even know how to handle someone getting a pop or a push when the fans genuinely and organically get behind someone. For example, Daniel Bryan's Yes movement and Rusev's Rusev Day were two of the biggest gimmicks this decade. And they dropped the ball on both of them. Yet they tried to shove Roman Reigns down our throats. And I'm going to go to hell for this. But it's the truth and it hurts, whatever. No one really cheered for Roman Reigns until he had leukemia. Now everybody wants to cheer for him now that he's back and he's a great story. And I get that. That's cool. But that doesn't make sense to me. Because I don't, in my humble opinion, I don't think anything about Roman Reigns' character has improved upon his return. Yes, he can put on a solid match. Absolutely, he can put on a solid match. But his mic skills still are like they're trash still. I mean, the fact that they haven't put him with a voice like Heyman did, like they did Lashley or even Brock. Come on, guys. He's not The Rock. Stop trying to make him The Rock. He will never be The Rock with hair. He can't. He don't have the mic skills. For whatever reason, bro cannot. Bro is not the big dog on the mic, no cap. But I mean, like, and speaking of Brock and Lashley, the fact that they haven't even interacted or had any kind of hint of a feud is baffling to me. Like, if Vince or Triple H or Stephanie or Shane doesn't have anything that has Brock or Lashley on it for the whole year, they don't have anything booked for Mania, they don't have anything booked for the Big Four, that's ridiculous. They gotta be joking. That match would not only draw, but you could make it a trilogy where the torch is passed, kinda, because we know Brock is in his last few years. Lashley probably, they need another monster. It's not going to be, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman isn't like the technical powerhouse prowess that Brock is. Braun Strowman ain't taking motherfuckers to Suplex City. You know who can? Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley could be the new mayor, the new president, the new dictator, whatever, of Suplex City. That would be a dope-ass story. There's so much money to be made there. There would be idiots to leave that on the table. But this is the same company that botched an Invasion Angle so bad they brought back ECW before ever trying to bring back WCW again. And speaking of competition like WCW and ECW, everybody thinks AEW is going to make WWE step their game up. And there's going to be another war and another Attitude Era. Yo, let me tell y'all something. For the foreseeable future, it's not happening. Let me repeat that. It is not happening. Unless AEW comes up with a storyline that gets people, into it, like the NWO did for the WCW, or has something shock value like happened, like when Lex Luger popped up on the first Nitro after WWE was trying to push him to the moon. That's what they need. And yes, we all know Cody is the son of Dusty, and wrestling fans know the wrestling genius of the Rhodes family, because even in the 80s, WCW rivaled WWF. When WWF was still catering to families and kids and had clowns and plumbers wrestling, WCW had Flair and Dusty and the Four Horsemen. Magnum TA, I believe, was in the 70s, 80s before he got, his old life-threatening injury. That was sad, but WCW was still, in the South, they were still selling out shows. They were still buying it as wrestling, It's so, and that was Dusty Rhodes booking sometimes, and it was Dusty Rhodes wrestling. That, you know, people still talk about their promos to this day, Hard Times, and, you know, people still sample Ric Flair's promos everywhere. People trying to be Ric Flair, you know.
Bro, he's chasing after you. I'm about to try and flank him.
Like I said, if AEW can get a shock factor signing and keep it a secret, like, this is a reach. If they could get Seth or Roman, or Seth and Roman to jump, that would be a bombshell, a nuke. And or if they get someone sturdy like Dolph, if he jumps and they use him right, that could be big. Or even if they stole some people WWE aren't using right. For example, if they signed Cesaro, Zack Ryder, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, EC3, or even Curtis Axel. If they sign any, you know, pick 3 of those guys, or even pick them all, and they sign them, and they make like a Radicals-like debut as like a stable, and, you know, it's, you know, they're new guys coming in looking for a spot, that would be crazy. You know, have them come in and, you know, do their thing. Those are all talented guys in different ways, and they're all charismatic. They can all put on one hell of a match. You know, they just need something big. And even now, like, I feel like even then they need like a mid-card title too. Something. Like, have a Radicals-like debut, and even debut, like, a mid-card championship. Because we get it. Cody and Jericho are the big draw for the big belt. But I feel like dudes like, especially Moxley and Omega, could bring prestige to a TV championship. But, like, MJP, or, you know, have... I'm going to be real. I don't know the whole AEW roster, like... But they need, you know, just have something for the other guys to kind of do. Not just make it like storyline or whatever, but...
Let's get this top 3.
Like, actually, you know, have it be prestigious. Like, I don't know, make it actually be able to change hands by disqualification. Or make every match no DQ. Or you could even make it like... Instead of like a television, you know, because WWE kind of has the IC in the US, so you can't really use US, but you could have the television championship, or you can have like you know, the Dusty Rhodes was the common man. You can have a common man or even a working man's championship, where like the title is, whenever the title is defended, it's in a ladder match or something, you know. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Like, this is just me coming off the top of the dome type shit. But, and yes, I did write that down, but it was like off the top. I came up with that idea in like 5 minutes. But, you know, I'm going to run with it. Because why not? You know, that's, like, TNA. Like, they had the X Division. If they had like something like an X Division, that would be dope.
I see 2.
The King of the Mountain match was one of the most absolutely ridiculous match concepts I've ever seen. But the Ultimate X and the 6 Sides of Steel gave us some of the most legendary moments in wrestling history. Bar none. WW Cross anything. The Ultimate X match, you know, and even some of the stuff TNA was doing back then was revolutionary. Some of those moves and shit like that, like, we'll never see nothing like that again, you know? Unless, you know, someone brought back the 6-sided ring, which I still miss the 6 sides of, you know, the 6 sides. But, you know, until AEW does something like that to kind of set them apart, or has a monumental signing like WCW and TNA did with Hulk Hogan and Flair and Angle, I think it's just obvious AEW don't want that WWE smoke. I mean, this could try and be the year they try and fire off some shots, but I don't. I mean, for the foreseeable future, I don't see it happening. Until all that happens, WWE is going to keep being lazy, ignoring the fans, and doing nothing out of the ordinary, really. Look at the Lashley and Lana wedding they just had. Like, compared to the highlight compilation they showed with Randy Savage's wedding, both of Stephanie's weddings, and Kane and Lita's wedding, That shit was whack, fam. The whole Lashley, Lana, Rusev, and now Liv Morgan, Love Square, whatever. It's stupid as fuck. And all they've been advertising, like this is their big storyline right now. This is all they've been advertising. Like, this is the road to WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble is this month. And this is y'all's marquee storyline for the A show? Bruh! And I'll say this too. When wrestling was booming or boomed in the 80s and 90s, it was still kind of semi-believable. Not 100%. People still had their doubts, but these dudes now will be in a whole feud, and then they'll go on up, down, down, and play Madden and Mario Party with each other, and, you know, they'll take pictures or be in public. I don't get it. Like, y'all ain't even trying to sell it at this point. Like, for real. Like, I get y'all sacrifice year in and year out. You know, y'all have a tough schedule, but I mean, the reason, like, I feel like if Seth Rollins is feuding with, you know, let's say Rusev or something, I don't want them in contact with each other. I don't want to see them tweet each other. I don't want to see some fake trash talk that Creative wrote. I want to see them get personal. I want to have them see each other in public, like, blur the lines a little bit. You don't even have to blur the lines completely. Like Stone Cold and Booker T fought in a grocery store. Like, they sold that shit, folks. Like, I mean, CM Punk dropped a pipe bomb and called Triple H a fucking doofus. Like, who does that, bruh? Like that, like, you had everybody thinking this dude was really going off. Pipe bomb. Like, just blur the lines a little bit. There's so much more they could do with social media, and I get you can't really, like, you know, you can't hide stuff on social media, but you can keep it a secret. If you don't talk, if you don't say anything, if there's no paper trail or anything, and you just keep something a secret, or if you just have something like I said, something as simple as fighting in an airport or something like that. Like that new 24/7 title is trash, and that whole how they're trying to rehash everything, that shit is stupid.
Bro, wait.
You know, just my opinion.
You know what, bro?
But like, in the 8 to 10 hours of wrestling you get a week across WWE, AEW, ROH, and New Japan, you get maybe 3 to 4 hours of storytelling and wrestling. The other 6 to 7 is WWE fucking around and AEW trying to find their niche or their big break, and then New Japan and ROH are just kind of like, it's filler for them. You know, every wrestling show has filler. WWE just has the most. You know, you're not gonna have not every 60 minutes or hour and a half, 2 hours is not gonna be, you know, roller coaster ride. You know, you got those filler matches that no one really cares about, or, you know, that feud that's just starting that hasn't caught on. It happens. But I mean, like, what I said about AEW pretty much goes for ROH and New Japan. They just need a big break or a groundbreaking storyline. They have talent. New Japan is putting on 5-star matches, and nobody gives a fuck because no one can relate to the storyline. They don't have someone beating up the boss. They don't have two guys going with one guy. They don't have one guy they could just hate and one guy who's the hero. They're just putting on really great wrestling matches, and no one cares. People are still watching the old Attitude Era WWE because everybody wants to see Mr. McMahon get Stone Cold stunned no matter how many times it is. It's classic. Until AEW or any of these companies have something like that, there's not going to be another wrestling boom because WWE doesn't have to try. They have nothing to worry about. They have nothing to compete with. So yeah, they lost Dean Ambrose. Look at what Dean Ambrose did with all his championship runs. They barely gave him a world title run. Compared to Seth and Rowan and the pushes they got, I feel like they could care less if Dean Ambrose fucking left. They were trying to make him like the next Stone Cold, and he didn't want to be. That's not him. He's like the white trash badass, kind of like that white trash kid who could, you know, crush a beer can. He's more like a mix between the Sandman and Brian Pillman, R.I.P. Brian Pillman, than you ever would be, you know, a beer swilling, middle finger giving, redneck, pure on Texan like Stone Cold. Like, it's just two different characters, and they tried to force him to be something he wasn't, and he wasn't digging it. And WWE's creative, as trash it is as it is, it's trash because they, like I said, they have nothing to compete with. So, I mean, I'll say for WWF, I applaud them for giving Kofi the belt. That shows that they put the strap on him pretty much for saying, hey, shout out New Day for taking a gimmick. Kofi, Big E, and Consequences Creed, and Xavier Woods, whatever you want to call him, that's my fucking dude. I've loved him ever since Truth and Consequences and Lethal Consequences in TNA. Just, you know, despite them misusing him, I loved him. But them three dudes took a gimmick that I thought would be done in 6 months, that I thought looked dumb as hell on paper at first, and they made it one of the most enjoyable things to watch in the last decade. The camaraderie between those three guys has been great to watch. And you don't want to see them break up. As much as you want to see them break up, you don't want to see them break up because, you know, what are they going to do, you know? I can't picture any of them having a better run than they are right now. And they should actually retire. They should actually be one of the teams that you know, we don't bend, we don't fold, we are New Day. But that's just me. Like, even though I think I was just clowning up, down, down, and, you know, I think it's kind of whack because they break kayfabe. And if they had up, down, down kayfabe, where they had the Russian brute Rusev trying to play, you know, something like, you know, what do they have? The capitalist or the adventure capitalist, but they have they have the adventure communist or whatever. If they played that would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. It's a mobile game. But if they had him playing that and learning how to play like him in the Rusev, I would buy it. I don't care if he plays it as his own self in the other up, down, down. Just to see him in the character, we get it. They're characters. We get that.
Hey, we got a dip.
But it would just be cooler if we could see them in and out of kayfabe sometimes, you know. And even blur the lines on the shows. You know, like they do Total Divas. You know, they kind of make it reality-based, but they kind of bring that reality to the show sometimes. And that's sometimes what makes the Divas division so great. You know? Because there's some legit heat sometimes. But anyway, I'm almost out of time. I think it's dope, honestly, even though I was just clowning on up, down, down. It's dope as fuck to me that they bring wrestling fans and gamers together, because those are obviously two industries that have influenced my life over the years and whatnot. And yeah, I always want to see the best for both industries and want to see them to come together, even though wrestling games have been trash for the last few years. And hopefully the AEW game made by THQ and Ukes is better, because those are the people who used to make the SmackDown versus Raw and the old SmackDown games. But enough of the plugs that I'm not getting paid for. But there's shady spots in both industries, for sure. I mean, wrestling with the independent contracts and, you know, wrestling, or the couple of there's only a few good gaming industries or studios left, I should say. And but the passion displayed by both, the fans of both, you know, if you play esports or you're just an above average or even a below average gamer, and even if you're a wrestler or you're a fan of wrestling and you feel the industry, that passion that people have for their respective shit is the reason why I fuck with both of them. You know, passion for anything, you know, makes me attracted to it. Same reason why I kind of am into baseball or even watching a sport, because people have that passion for it. And that's, you get that vibe. So even though I don't see a wrestling boom like when I was younger happening, in the gaming industry, for the most part, is more concerned about a bottom line than the fun factor. Until gaming gets so whack, I gotta go back like wrestling and watch the old, you know, 98 to 2007, because that's when wrestling was really good. The old TNA, highly recommend old TNA. You know, 05 to 08, they was doing wild shit before they time. For real, for real. And then, of course, the attitude of ruthless aggression errors are where it's at. But like I said, until someone steps up and challenges WWE, they don't have a reason to try. And it's not going to be any different. So, hope y'all enjoyed this little long-ass rant, whatever. I know I jumped around everywhere. I didn't even get to touch on all the subjects. But for the most part, I feel like I got my point across. Even if there even was one. But it's been your boy, Agent ANT. You know, I got hot content dropping, little things stopping. So stay tuned. You know, been the elevated gamer, aka the above average gamer, and yeah, I'm about to take the second place. I took a dub, but then, man, I was so close. I watched the person run across, and then they came back after I killed this team and smoked me. I was so hurt. So hurt, bro. So hurt. But anyways, be safe out there, y'all. Don't get smoked. That shit's tragic. I'm out. Peace.
And it was only that one wraith, bro. It was the one wraith. By herself. Good shit. She put the fucking team on her back.